Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Beaten Path. Today we're traveling to LaCrosse, Wisconsin to visit Dave's Drum Depot. In partnership with the legendary Dave's Guitar Shop, the Drum Depot began in 2020 to serve not only the drummers of Western Wisconsin, but all over the country with a wide range of drums from the most economical options for beginners to the most high-end and custom options from legacy and boutique brands alike. It's becoming harder and harder to find brick and mortar shops like this, with this level of equipment on the floor for customers to experience in person, especially outside of major metropolitan cities. As someone who calls Wisconsin home, it makes me especially proud to see a shop like Dave's finding success locally and beyond. Before we get too far into the video, I want to remind you that I'm creating new episodes in this series each month, so make sure to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all of my future video releases. So without any further delay, let's take a look inside of Dave's Drum Depot. Hey Terry.
Hey Mike.
How's it going?
Good. Welcome to Dave's Drum Depot.
Thanks for having me today.
You bet.
So this is not my first time inside the shop. I was able to come once before. The thing that has really struck me about this place is we're in LaCrosse, Wisconsin, which is a good sized city, but it's not a musical capital of the Midwest or, a large city like Minneapolis, Milwaukee, or Chicago. So not only having this drum shop here for the local community, but obviously the lore and history with your neighbors here and your partners with Dave's Guitar Shop is pretty remarkable.
That is very helpful.
Yeah, so could you just walk me through a little bit of the backstory about how this building has come together and the Drum Depot being a part of it?
Well, Dave, he's added on to this building 3 times now. We can't go any further because there's a street right out here. But for about 3 years, there was a drum shop here, and they decided to move it to a smaller building, and this area was open. So we said, well, Dave asked me, he said, well, you think we could keep it a drum shop? And I said, yeah, if you get the right manager, and that's how it all started.
Yeah, and you were the guy.
I was the guy.
And your background in music retail goes much beyond this shop, right?
Yeah, I've been in music retail of some sort for about 35 years. So,
okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, ever since I was 14 years old, I bought my first drum set and have been playing in bands ever since.
So you guys carry a full width of kind of the drum set category and some world percussion here. So kits, snares, cymbals, hardware, and then obviously all the instruments from different cultures as well. And one thing I notice is a lot of the local music stores in smaller areas don't put an emphasis on high quality pro level gear because quite frankly, it just doesn't move as quickly as entry level gear for beginning students. But the thing I really noticed from being in this shop is a wide variety of options for drummers of all different experience levels and budgets.
Correct. I wanted to make sure that if I walked into this shop for the first time, I would be impressed with the high end. Because that's where I filter my needs to anyway. So
yeah, and that's exactly how I felt the first time I ever came in here, was definitely being impressed by being able to put my hands on something that I might have only seen on a website or, in a catalog or something.
Right, same here.
So you were also telling me too that one of the big reasons that you're afforded to have this wide variety of gear is because of the online retail you're able to do and kind of piggybacking off the success and the known name of the guitar shop and the kind of wide scope they have.
That's correct. That really helps us a lot because, if you're looking for a drum set, you're not necessarily going to go to Dave's Guitar website, but as soon as you do it once, you start talking about it, your friends talk about it, and pretty soon we've got a pretty legitimate business going online. Probably about 50 to 60% of our sales are done online now.
And that makes such a benefit for the community here in LaCrosse. For people who aren't familiar with this area, you're not too far away from like the Twin Cities.
Nope.
Or Eau Claire, or even people in Madison or Milwaukee. It definitely could be a day trip. So I'm sure you guys get a lot of foot traffic of not only musicians in this LaCrosse area, but in kind of the surrounding metropolitan regions, right?
Definitely. Well, Dave's got a guitar shop in Milwaukee. He's got one in Madison. He's got one in Marshfield, and he's got the one here. So we go weekly to those stores and deliver. So if you want us just to ship something out next week, we can get it into the shop. You pick it up at one of our other stores.
That's awesome too, yeah, because a lot of people don't have the luxury of making a day trip out to come visit. So yeah, if they can be interconnected maybe with one of your kind of satellite locations and you guys can coordinate some different gear for people to get their hands on or purchase without paying for shipping.
And you can trade guitars, keyboards on drums. You can trade drums towards guitars. You can keep on mixing it all up. So there's a lot of options.
I did not know that. I would have thought, just because I love this building here because each kind of facet of it has its own dedicated space. It feels dedicated to the one niche. But yeah, that's awesome that you're able to kind of mix and match between the two and get a good value.
Yeah, it's fun for us too to see what some of the stuff we get traded in is like. What kind of, like a Moog synthesizer? I didn't even know what they looked like. Now I do.
Yeah. Well, speaking of some of the different gear you have here, I see behind us we have this snare wall here, and I love this because a lot of drummers might only have one drum set, but drummers very much get into collecting snares, and there's a lot of different options in terms of material makeup, sizing, and so like this to me is kind of like, one of the candy sections of being in a drum shop is seeing all the different snares.
And this is the used wall, and then this is the new wall. So quite a variety. We try to, like I said, get 3 or 4 of each of our manufacturers' snare drums available at all times.
Yeah, so I see DW and PDP, and then also Sonar, and then some of the really boutique brands. Craviato, I see Franklin drums.
Noble
and then,
Cooley.
Of course, plenty of other. Noble and Cooley, yeah. This is stuff you can't really see in any music store that doesn't have maybe more of a specific approach to drums.
It's definitely a rarity, but that's what makes it fun for me. I like the boutique drums as well.
Yeah, and I think even if people are very brand loyal to like one drum brand, they seem to have a little bit more tolerance for like, maybe I play Pearl drums, but I have a Ludwig snare or I have a more boutique snare. So I don't think people are as concerned with being stuck on their habits when it comes to snares.
The tough part of it for Ian Carter is the stuff that comes in used. You want almost everything.
Yeah.
So many cool things come through.
Yeah, there's some very unique used pieces here. And this is a great way to, save a few bucks by not paying like full market value sometimes, or maybe being able to find a piece that's a little more collectible.
And even some oddball stuff, the marching drum that's been rewrapped.
Yeah, that's a very unique one. I don't think I've seen anything like that. And then some of the working man stuff. I mean, a Ludwig Acrolite, it's hard to imagine a drum that can be a better value than an old Acrolite. There's a million of them out there, but there's still plenty of people looking for them.
That's for sure. Gotta have one.
Yeah.
And as we go a little bit this direction, we do have some of our vintage stuff that is not for sale. Some of it's mine, some of it is just the stores. Always like to expand on that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool part about coming to a drum shop is most of the places I've been to have some sort of collection on display.
Yep.
And like this piece here, this old bass drum tied to LaCrosse and hand-painted bass drum head, that's part of the community, part of the drum history.
And the Country Ventures bass drum head.
Yeah. So as we keep going through this wall, we get into our first kind of cymbal section, right?
That's correct. This is our used cymbal wall.
A whole bunch of brands here, right?
Yeah, it varies a lot, and week to week, we never know what's coming in. Like we just took in, I think, like 12 or 13 Sabians yesterday, so.
And all this stuff, again, a great way to save a few bucks because cymbals have not gotten any cheaper in the last few years.
That's for sure.
It's very intimidating, even for someone like me who's used to investing in my equipment. Used cymbals is a great way, especially for students or younger people.
Definitely. And we try to, clean them all up and get them online right away so that people know they're here anyway.
Yeah, a lot of these, as I'm looking at them, I wouldn't even guess they're used. They're very clean, don't show a lot of stick marks, so there's hardly any difference. And I'm personally a believer that played-in cymbals have a little bit more pleasant tone. Sometimes, brand new metal that's just been formed has a little bit of a harshness to it. So I always enjoy a played-in sound.
Yeah, the new ones are a little stiffer. Then we can start getting into some of the new brands. This is Turkish, which of course are made in Turkey. It said that most of the hand hammering done on these cymbals are from former people that worked with Zildjian. So it's a very, very cool company.
I've been able to visit Istanbul one time, and it's like there's cymbal factories almost on every street corner.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who have a history of working with these long-standing companies have gone off to work with other manufacturers that are producing for a variety of brands. So I know these Turkish cymbals are made with a lot of the same knowledge and craftsmanship that you see in more, well-known brands.
That's exactly right. High quality, a little bit less expensive, but we love them.
So as we turn the corner here, it seems like you've got a stage here kind of for display, but does this also serve any function for like hosting events or anything?
That's the idea. We haven't done a lot of it yet, but yes, we definitely would like to bring some lighting in, a sound system, and either do a clinic or even a small get-together with other drummers.
Yeah, I think that's huge too, because to me, like going to the drum shop would be like for other people going to the coffee shop. It's like sometimes I'm on a mission to pick out something specific, but there's also this element of just going and enjoying and have conversation with other people who share same passion. So being able to host events for the community is great for everybody, and hopefully drives in more business at the same time too.
That's the dream, yes.
Yeah.
We might as well finish on the cymbals as long as we're going around here. The Zildjian Wall, it is probably our best-selling cymbal line, which it is throughout the country. And they've been around since 1618, so there's a big story there.
It's remarkable what they've been able to do in terms of, just their consistency as a company outsurvives our country's independence by a large margin.
That's for sure. And we try to carry, the upper end stuff as well as the more entry level. And the same with in our Meinl wall over there, very beginning cymbals that are still good.
Yeah, I think Meinl has definitely carved a path of offering entry-level cymbals that maybe don't have the same sound we associate with, the entry-level cymbals of the 90s or 2000s.
Yes, they're not.
I've been very impressed by my students who have to play their HCS or other kind of more cost-effective lines.
Definitely. That's one thing I don't like about the very entry-level drum sets that include cymbals. They're not really cymbals, they're cymbal-shaped objects.
Yeah. That's the truth. And I think being able to have a large option of cymbals here is really important, because I feel like I could always take a risk buying something without trying it and have the confidence that I would be able to change heads or change the tuning to get a sound I want or muffling. Cymbals, there's very limited options to augment the sound over time. And also, even if you pick out the same model cymbal, it might not have the same exact sound. There's always a little individuality to them.
Exactly. You could have 10 of the same model and none of them are the same in sound.
Yeah, so I think for you guys with, your local market, they're probably so thankful that they have like 60, 70 cymbals here right on the wall that they can try out. And I know there's more in boxes or things that don't fit on the display shelves.
Great. And box sets, that's kind of a nice way to buy as well. And we do offer different price points for that. This area is mostly all new drum kits, and we sell them as shell packs. So you're buying just drums, then you buy a different hardware package and different cymbal package and put your own kit together. And it seems to work out pretty good.
And there's a huge variety of options here. And like you were saying, this is all new, so companies you have a relationship with and order with directly. I see Ludwig, Tama, DW, like we were talking about before. And then again, a lot of the boutique options, which I've been fortunate to visit a lot of drum shops, and maybe some are able to have a boutique high-end snare or two, but to have the kits in person in the flesh where you can really see it, that's a rarity if you're not in, one of the major cities in America.
And unfortunately, the amount of drum shops in the United States has gotten so small between when COVID came through, and it's a struggle. And to have a big inventory like this, it's fun to walk in and look, whether it be a new kit, used kit.
And like we were talking about off camera too, it's like having all of this brand new retail is amazing. But I think sometimes the fun part about visiting a music store in person is like the one-off things you might see in a corner. And a lot of that is used, vintage, or kind of things that have been changed over time. And you guys are no exception to that.
Yeah, we love the vintage stuff and the used in general, and we try to put new heads most of the time just to make them sound the best they can.
Well, and this is another way, you can save a little bit of money. Like some of the kits here are maybe not in the collectible grade or, vintage or something like that, but it's like still a very well-made drum set.
The right heads can make a real difference on any kit, which I'm sure you know.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of that. And even if you were going to buy a used kit on Facebook Marketplace, to purchase a new set of heads is another $150,
That's right.
maybe even more dollars. So
that's correct.
Coming to a place here where you're able to put those heads on right away, and that's an all-in-one price.
Yep, it's all tuned up and ready to go.
As we keep walking here, this back corner has a variety of things, from your world percussion to some drum heads and sticks.
That's correct. We even have some keyboards. When we first opened the store, this back area had a couple Hammond B3s, and we were a little bit more into keyboards because we wanted just to see what that would be like. And I used to sell keyboards almost exclusively at another store in town. So I felt comfortable with it. But as we started getting more time as being the drum shop, we're kind of getting out of the keyboard idea. We're just trying to stay with drums and expand, like you said, hand percussion, children's percussion. That's more what we should be doing. So the keyboards probably will be gone soon.
Well, there has to be some place for it, I guess, right now, because out of all the little nooks and crannies in this massive building, there isn't any dedicated space for keyboards quite yet.
Correct.
Another thing, too, is like for the community, I'm sure they're not coming in every day and buying a drum set or a new cymbal, but things like heads and sticks are probably things that daily you see going out to the working musicians in this region.
Definitely. And the accessories along that wall, there's always something you can use.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. And speaking of the community and that, I know another part of your business, like many music stores, is lessons, right?
We do have a drum teacher, Dave Orr. He teaches here Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from about 2 in the afternoon to about 8 o'clock at night. I call this the parent room. This is where if you have a parent with you, can sit comfortably, can shut the door so it isn't quite as loud, but the drums are back here.
Yeah, I imagine most of the students spend their time waiting in the actual drum shop.
Yes, they do, and they love it. But yeah, he's got 2 sets set up here. He will take students as young as 4 and as old as 84.
Wow, yeah, that's a wide range.
Yeah.
That's an important part of the business for the drum shop, is creating the next generations of customers and hopefully passionate musicians and building a good relationship here.
It really does make a difference. And what I noticed recently, which for a while it seems like there was a certain age group of, I'm going to call them kids, but somewhere between 12 and 16, 17 that weren't starting bands. It's like stopped. And I'm going, why aren't they trying to get bands going again? That has turned around now. We're starting to see that happen again.
I've started to notice that with my own student base. And yeah, I always thought it was weird because when I was a teenager, it's just like, all right, you get good enough at your craft to play along to some songs. The next step is to find some other musicians to do it along with, and the social element of music.
Oh, definitely.
And there is no career path for being, a solo drum set player. I mean, maybe for 1 or 2 of the most high art form musicians, but our instrument is always a team player.
Definitely. But again, I'm very happy to see it turning around.
Yeah, that's very encouraging.
And we do sell electronic kits as well. We carry F-Note and Roland and Cat. It's getting to be a bigger part of the sales as well, because not everyone can play an acoustic drum set in their living environment.
Yeah, I've never had a preference for electronic drums, but over the years where I've worked with students or friends who don't have the fortune of a living space where they can make that kind of noise, electronic drums have come a long way in terms of the enjoyability playing them, but it's a great reality because no drums is a much worse option.
That's correct. So this accessory wall seems like it's constantly growing because there's all these new products that have come out that are great. I mean, there's not one kind of drum key anymore. I mean, there's all the different bass drum beaters. I mean, it just expands and expands, and why not get creative with what you're putting on your kit, make it more yours?
I agree, and I think what's cool back here is you see a lot of, the larger name brands you're familiar with, but then even in this game, there's a lot of independent people adding cool accessories to the market, whether it be Dragonfly beaters or the snare weight, tackle percussion. So there's a lot of ways to even support local businesses with some of this even smallest accessory options.
And muffling capabilities. I mean, that's expanded quite a bit. It's not just gels anymore.
Yeah.
We just took on Lowboy, so these are some very nice handmade bass drum beaters. Each one does have a different sound.
Yeah, and again, this is a way where, spending a smaller amount of money can still give you the option to enhance your sound, change your sound, or maybe repair something that isn't working quite as well as it used to or was intended to.
And we do a lot of repairs as well, smaller repairs. We don't do bearing edges on drums, but we do, if there's something mechanically wrong with your throw off, or you got a stripped lug on a snare drum, we can help with that.
Drummers tend to be a little more independent in terms of, it'd be commonplace to change your own drum heads. But for parents who are just starting out, a lot of this equipment can be very overwhelming, especially for young kids. So having a resource here like this where they can come in and bring in their snare drum that's not working, and you guys can find the right part and then also assist them in putting it together is huge.
And if you got a broken piece of hardware, we do have lots of hardware, new and used.
Well, Terry, thanks so much for walking me through everything you're doing here. Like I was saying before, I'm very passionate about this region, and to have a drum shop in our state is a blessing and is a surprise for a lot of people. So I'm so excited about what you're doing here and the reach you guys have nationally, internationally, and excited to see what keeps happening with it in the future.
Thank you very much, Mike.
If people want to follow what you guys are doing here or reach out with questions or inquiries about different products, what's the best way to get in touch?
Well, either phone or you can do it via email. And I'm just going to lay this down and do a little quick one of this. There's our info.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot.